Hi, and welcome to the next episode of Belly to Belly. And today we're here to talk about SelectUSA preparation. And we're only a couple months away from early May when the event will happen this year. And we're joined by our great friend, Wendy Pease from Rapport International. Welcome, Wendy.
Hi, Bill. It's great to talk to you.
Absolutely. So our goal today is really to help companies pre-meet a great resource before they come to SelectUSA. Obviously, we want to encourage as much pre-contact as possible so that when we all arrive at the event, the conversations we're having are much more second level than preliminary. So with that, it would be great if you could share with our audience. You're going to be there speaking and participating and networking and so on. If you could share with our audience what Rapport International does to help companies expanding into the US.
Sure. Yeah, I'm the owner of Rapport International, where we provide high quality language services. So if I break that down, that's written translation services and spoken interpretation services. And spoken interpretation services could be on the telephone, it could be a video call like we're doing, it could be in person, it can be conference interpreting. And so there's a lot of talk about AI right now. AI can get you the quick and dirty if you need to get around the DC area, if you need to figure out something quick, that's really good. But when it comes to presenting your company, you want to make sure that your communications or anything that can cause you liability is done still by a human that understands the culture that you're going into. So at SelectUSA, I'm going to be talking on a panel about the U.S. culture. And I'm sure that we'll get into talking about, what kind of marketing materials that you use. Marketing in the U.S. is done very differently than different countries. We self-promote a lot, and you have to know how to self-promote and talk good about yourself and the benefits you offer without sounding like a braggart. And there are some countries that you don't talk about yourself, and there's other countries that might go on too much. So it's a balancing act that I'll be talking about, and that's where I can help you. If you're coming in and you want to have something that you give out, certainly reach out to me beforehand, and we can help make it culturally appropriate.
I would imagine, and just maybe a quick follow-up question, Wendy, and I would imagine with with websites today, with sort of the multi-version websites for different countries and so on, that that must be an area that you're doing a lot of work in terms of helping companies localize their website as they expand to whether it's the US or Europe or so on. But is that also an area that you do a lot of work in?
Oh yeah, that falls under the written translation. And what we see, it's getting kind of funny because Google Translate came out with a plugin that you could put in your website that was supposed to be good enough. It's not. If you go to a website in another language and you try to use that, you don't feel comfort, you don't feel trust, so you're not going to buy from them. Now AI comes in and it's supposed to be better, except for AI is pulling from all the stuff that's on the internet. So what it's doing is pulling the bad translation from the Google Translate and putting it up there. Now, looking at translating your full website, which can be pages and pages of material, can be very expensive. So what we do with our clients is we say, okay, what are you trying to accomplish and what's the buyer's journey? And then we can narrow down as to what's the important information to translate. And then you can always build from that, because as we know, the algorithm picks up websites that are continually refreshing and adding more information. And there's all sorts of stuff as to whether you should have a different country website or whether you should have a global one, how to optimize for search. So all of that is what we get into when we're working with somebody. But don't put the plugin in, don't use AI translation. It's not going to help you. Pick out the important material and get it done right.
Sure. No, that's amazing. So, well, let's talk about SelectUSA a little bit. And you've been participating the last few years. So, again, thinking of our audience of companies that are both already committed to going and ones that are thinking about it, why is it that you participate in SelectUSA? What is it about the event that makes it sort of the World Cup of US expansion?
Yeah, I'm really passionate about helping companies do cross-border business, because those that do, and I know the statistics from the Department of Commerce for companies in the US that export, but I would imagine it's the same for other countries because you've got a lot of countries that are smaller and they want to access bigger markets. So companies that export and do cross-border business, tend to perform better, have higher valuations, have more stability. And so it's very exciting for me. And I grew up internationally. I love people and cultures and languages. So I really like to encourage people to do cross-border businesses for all those reasons. And SelectUSA is incredible because if you're trying to decide where to come to in the US, there are so many geographic regions, and you can go there and actually talk to the people in the States and find out what benefits and what geographic regions might be best for whatever you're bringing into the United States. So rather than having to travel across this vast country, you can go to one place and meet lots of people. Plus, learn about culture and language and legal implications and regulatory, obligations that you'll have. So it's a one-spot landing place to really dive in.
I love it. Yeah, kind of kind of the big circus or big tent opportunity to meet all the resources and get all the information you need for expansion. So no, that's perfect. So let's talk about, because some of the companies coming, as you know, it will be, they already will have operations in the US and they have some familiarity and they're looking sort of to hit the next level. And others, this will be their first visit to the US and not just the first visit to SelectUSA. So thinking about that, are there recommendations you have for people coming in and how to get the most out of the event? As you already said, there's a lot going on. So how do they get the most out of it?
Well, I think that one thing that's really important is that you do your pre-work. Like you reach out to people that you want to meet, because it's such a large event that if you come and you don't know anybody, you're going to be kind of wandering around blind. So if you have skills in your company or you have connections of people that are going to be there or specific states that you're targeting, then reach out to those people before and pre-schedule meetings. If you don't have skills in that, or that's an area that feels uncomfortable or you don't have time, reach out to you, Bill, and get help with scheduling those appointments in advance. So I think that's one thing. I think the second thing, for when you're there, have even if it's like a one-sheet paper that describes, like your capabilities brochure, it's often called in the US, and make sure it's customized for the American market. So that's certainly something we can help with. If you've got it in language, you're listening to me in English, so who knows if you can understand, but if you've got it in language, make sure that you culturally adapt it to what a capabilities presentation would look like in the US. And make sure to bring that, or even have a QR code on that to drive people to your website so they can learn more. And then, of course, come to my session. We'll be talking about American culture there. It's going to be on Sunday, and reach out to me beforehand or come talk to me that day. Look forward to meeting you.
That's awesome. No, that's super. So yeah, thinking about the preparation too, that one other thing that kind of struck me as you were talking about the preparation is most of the companies coming will be coming part of a delegation, and the delegation host would also be a good connector. So if I love the capabilities brief comment, and that to me makes me think, okay, they've really clearly defined who they want to meet, and that information is really helpful to the host of their delegation, so that they can also help, whether it's connection to certain states or regions or service providers or certain content that will be most valuable. But I think, defining goals but informing the host is maybe also another thing to add to that list. But,
that's an excellent point. I think the other thing that I'd add in too is follow-up. If you're coming here, you're coming to meet people, find out what's appropriate, and then the follow-up is going to be important. Now, people, here's your little cultural hint. People in the US don't take as long to get to know and do business with than other parts of the world. They're going to want to be looking for business opportunities immediately and want to move forward, but people move so fast. you doing your follow-up is really going to make a difference. But that's the delegation lead is a really important person to connect in with, because they're already tied into so many people at SelectUSA.
Right. Yeah, and they've probably been going for years, and yeah, their network is strong. So, no, I love follow up. Right. You have to do that all day, all night. Well, that's fantastic, Wendy. I really appreciate you taking the time. Is it okay if we share your contact information in the description below?
Absolutely. Absolutely. My direct contact information, my LinkedIn, I've got a link tree that's Wendy Pease. It has some free marketing resources in there. It's got a video. It's got a few chapters of my book, and it's got all my social platforms that you can reach out to me on. So happy to help. Love cross-border trade. Anything I can do to support you, I would be happy to do.
Super. Well, I can't wait to see you in 2 months, and you certainly enjoy your skiing, and we'll see you soon.
Okay. Thanks so much. Take care.
Yep. Bye now.